Monsieur le Président de la République,
President of the French
Madame la
Republic,
maire de Paris,
Madam Mayor,
Mesdames, Messieurs les représentants d'États étrangers,
representative from foreign
Mesdames,
states,
Messieurs les élus, Mesdames, Messieurs
elected
chacun
officials,
en vos grades et qualités,
It's good
chers
enough.
amis.
ladies and gentlemen, dear
La
friends.
mémoire n'est pas pour ressasser, mais pour agir.
Remembrance is not a time to close off, but it is a
Merci,
time
Monsieur
to
le
act.
Président, de votre présence en ce jour et en
President,
ce
thank
lieu,
you for being here today.
marquant ainsi votre attention jamais
Today
prise en
shows
défaut pour toutes
that
les
you have
victimes.
always paid close
Par votre
care
présence,
for the
c'est toute
victims.
la nation
In
qui
being here
aujourd'hui se
tonight,
souvient.
it is a sign
C'est
that the
toute la
entire
nation
nation
qui
is
aujourd'hui
remembering
se
what took
recueille.
place.
C'est à vous, Madame la maire de Paris, que nous le devons
To
ce
you,
jardin qu'aujourd'hui nous
Madam Hidalgo, Mayor of Paris, we
Dès
owe you
2016,
this
au nom
garden.
de la ville de Paris, victime
In
elle aussi. Vous preniez
2015,
devant les associations envers les victimes.
and then again in 2016, you made a commitment to victims and families to create a space of remembrance, one dedicated,
I think in
dedicated to all those who fell in 2015. This is not a monument to the dead in the heart of Paris. This space is not a space where we will forget that there were other locations. The Stade de France, the Carillon, then Petit Cambodge, then Casa Nostra, the Bonnebière, Belle Équipe, Comptoir Voltaire, and then finally the Bataclan, the place where it was so hard to intervene. It was so hard to get in and save those people who were still inside. With Sarah Gainsbourg, sociologist of remembrance, it is thanks to her that we were able to see this project come to fruition. On behalf of the Association of Victims, who have always been so closely listened to by all those people in positions of power, we have made clear requests. This space is to be a space where all sites are reflected. All sites that were affected by the terrorist attacks in 2015 are reflected. Here in the heart of Paris, a location that is easily identified, easily accessible, a space where all victims who died on the 13th of November 2015 will be clearly identified. But it is also to be a space where survivors can meet, a space where they can walk through, where they can take time to stop and remember, through symbols of light, water, and plants. This space is a garden, a space where life is reborn every spring. And I would like to quote Robert Badinter in saying, yes, life is stronger than death, but it is something that we are so lacking. Over the past few years, we have dusted ourselves off and stood up stronger. Anger has subsided, our wounds have been licked and healed. Wounds of the body and wounds of the soul have healed, but the scars remain, and they will remain forevermore. Through a time of mourning and then a time of sadness, we have now reached a time of acceptance. We have gone through our own hardships. We went through the trials. But thanks to the prosecutors that were held here in Paris, we were able to see justice and the rule of law prevail. Their testimonies were so harrowing to hear for all those who came and spoke within the courts. It was thanks to them that we were able to truly understand what those people who had died had to go through. We tried to somewhat understand how and why. Yet those questions remain somewhat unanswered. We need to persevere in our own quest for truth. Over the past 10 years, our entire society has had to face the facts. Thousands of people who came forward to speak, to share flowers, messages. People who came and left their mementos on all those sites of the attacks, but all around France. And while numerous politicians here today and in Europe, and even beyond European borders, are trying to create discord, and while social media are feeding into the minds of our young generations, there are so many questions without answers. We must resist. We must not give in to this temptation of further division, and we will resist. We will resist because we will stand by your side, Mr. President, to the Interior Minister as well. We will stand by your sides to ensure that we will have security without giving up our freedoms. The fallout of these terrorist attacks show us that we need to fight for the younger generations, that we need to not forget, that we need to ensure that remembrance will go beyond official statements and declarations. We want to see action taken. And we have seen initiatives come to the fore so that all generations will remember. We will continue to think about what took place, about why it took place, so that the younger generations who are far often ignored from the base will be included in that discussion. We will continue to resist to show that all generations are bound to those people who are victims of these attacks, that we will continue to fight for freedom, for democracy, and the values that are our own, so that we will come out as vanquishers. We are here unveiling the plaque for this new garden. So let me reiterate our wish once again. And, Mr. President, you said to me just recently that you would come true on this promise. We will ensure that we will have a memorial against terrorism, but this is a museum that will have another mission, a greater, more ambitious mission, not just to foster a culture of remembrance, but also a culture of handing on to future generations, of educating, of awakening minds, so that the light of knowledge will cast off the darkness of barbarism. As Henri Rousseau said, when he says, there is no point to commemorate events if you do not know those events and if you do not understand them. To conclude, once again, Mr. President, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having created the National Day for homage for those victims, a day that pays homage to all French men and women who have died in such similar attacks. And to Anne Hidalgo, Mayor of Paris, thank you. Thank you to the elected officials from Paris Town Hall for all that you have done to help us, for having been so true and authentic over these past few years, as we have gone through all of the necessary steps to bring this garden to life. Thank you for having us at this event. And I would like to thank Wagon Landscaping for everything that they have done for this garden, for all of those men and women who carved the stones, who landscaped the gardens, who tended to these plants to ensure that we could have this garden. Thierry Reboul, Victor Loman, and all those who worked with them to make this monument, one where beauty and emotion combine. Thank you so much for having created this place of remembrance by bringing it to life with light and music. Thank you for organizing this ceremony, this symbolic place, one where the victims are at the true core, at the heart of this event. Thank you for doing it with such finesse and such kind consideration. I would like to thank you on their behalf. They are here in the garden tonight with us.